This is a 2012 Polaris 900 RZR that I found online. The guy wanted $2,000 for it. It has a hole in the side of the case of the transmission and needs a transmission rebuild. This is a video that we put together to make sure that we put it back together correctly, and decided that we'd post it on YouTube in case anybody else needs the information if they're doing a similar project.
Okay, I don't know how to remove these street legal lights by pulling the bulb out, so I think what I'm gonna do, I'm probably just gonna cut it here and splice it back. And I'll probably cut it here and splice it back with a butt splice. Just so I can, well, I can't do that. I'll probably cut this one here and butt splice, and this one here and butt splice so I can get it out. Okay, I got a RZR 2012 XP 900, a 4-seater, that has got a hole in the transmission case, and obviously has thrown a bunch of bearing and gear and whatever out the side of that. Okay, so the idea is we're gonna get this pulled out. This engine runs great, 2,400 miles. It's got sound system, mirrors, power steering, brand new tires, brand new hard top, roll cage, Walker Evans racing shocks. In great condition, great shape for its age, other than it's got a hole in the transmission, and I did drive it into the garage in low, but there's no reverse, and high is not sounding real good. So we're gonna get this pulled out and replaced, either rebuilt or turned in, turn the core in and get a rebuilt one. I'm gonna come out pretty well on this, is my hope. So we'll just kind of film the process and see how it goes. Right now I'm just taking off the plastic bumpers. I've got them around the corner there, back roll cage I've pulled off right there. So I'm just getting started. I didn't turn the camera on in time to get some of these bolts filmed as I've taken them out, but that's my sack of bolts there, rear bumper plastics. So that's what we're working on right now. Okay, I think the torque screws are out. I'm gonna undo these straps here, get it free from the rest of it. And we'll see what we get. It looks like these come out here to leave this box. Let's try that. Okay, I've removed the plastic in the bed. I think what I'm gonna do next is get this frame piece out of the way. It looks like I can come here, 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 and there, and pull that off. It looks like it's holding the muffler up right here, but I think what I'm gonna do is just undo the muffler and we pull it all off at once so I can get all that out of the road. Honestly, I'm trying to get this to where I can know where I have to put it back. So I took the muffler off, pulled the springs. A little bit difficult, the springs off, but they're off. This is the airbox. We'll get this hose there detached, and then get into the throttle body. And then see if I can get that. So this hitch that was on here sandwiched the tie rods in between the frame and the hitch, like that. So when I go to put it back together, that's what needs to happen. I've taken the hub clear off. Well, I guess just the axle out of the hub. I've left the hub there. I'm starting on the same thing. I took the caliper off the knuckle right here, and then pulled the axle off and pulled the axle out of the transmission. I need to do it on the other side. There's the axle. I pulled it. I left the boot intact and just pulled it out there. I'll take another hose clamp. I gotta put it back on and make sure that it's good and tight so we don't get any dust in it. I don't know if that's the right way. I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Just figuring it out as I go. So hopefully this helps somebody as they go to tear it apart. We're getting closer to getting room to pull that transmission out. I'm waiting on a clutch puller. I got the secondary clutch pulled out. Primary clutch is still there, but we need to get this back plastic clutch cover off in order to finish the job. So getting closer. Okay, I got this in that hole. I don't know why that one came apart that way. I'll have to put it back together when I put it back on, but I pulled it right out of here. I'll come back with some grease and stuff, make sure those bearings are greased up when I go to put it back together. But I just pulled it straight out like this with the rotor still attached. Now I have both shafts out. On to the next thing. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is start getting this wiring harness out of the way. There's a plug right here that needs to be undone. A plug right here that needs to be undone. So I'll start working on those things. Okay, I'm about ready to take this little breather tube off. So I want to make sure, sorry, this right here. Off the top of the transmission, it looks like it just goes over. This is it right here. And comes out right here, so it's just a breather tube. I just want to video document that where it goes so I don't lose track of where it goes. One of those pliers. risk damaging some of these plastic clips. I'm pulling out some of the brackets instead. This is where this goes. This goes up. I believe it holds the airbox in place. So I'm gonna pull that off. I want to make sure that I pull all the brackets off that might not come with the new transmission or the new rebuilt transmission. So I want to make sure I have the brackets that I need. That's why I decided to go ahead and pull this piece of aluminum for the shifting mechanism, and I pulled the bracket off right here that holds this, just because I don't know if it's going to come with it. So I want to make sure I have what I need when I get the new one. Okay, I'm getting ready to pull this bracket off with this wiring harness attached to it. I just want to video this clip, this, yeah, you got to get that off. So just want to make sure I know where it goes. Pop that off and out of the way. Okay, so I just wanted to video this. I don't have a clutch puller yet. I'll get that, so I get this clutch off and out of the way, so I get this cover up and out of the way. But this shaft has got to come out and off the transmission in order to get it out. My understanding is that you can pull, the shaft travels down, right there's the shaft, comes up underneath the console here. So I'm going to pull that console off so I can see it, see if I can pull it forward. I might have to get rid of these seats for a minute until I do that, but that's where I'm going to go next. Okay, so I'm pulling these torque screws out. They're a longer torque screw. There's some on the floor there, up and around. So I'll get those all pulled out and take a look. Okay, here are the torque screws that come out of the console there. These two with the rounder head and the flat head, they go up on the firewall. They got a little bit different style thread. The ones that are back here by the shifter, they were longer. The rest of them on the floor, these shorter ones. Okay, it looks like in order to get the console up over the shifter knob, you've got to pop this off. And then there's a torque screw down in there. So we'll get that pulled out. Okay, here it is, all pulled out. That strap right there has got to come off more for this to shift forward, is my understanding. So, or at least to lift. I guess it would be lifting and moving forward to pull it out of that back part or the trim part of the transmission. So we'll attempt that. Okay, so those bolts are not, I need a swivel, I don't have one. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to just drill a hole here and drill a hole here above those bolts so I can use my extension down there and get those bolts off. I don't know that I recommend that, but I can see that the console covers that area. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to drill a hole straight down so I can get my extension to them. Okay, I've loosened this carrier for this bearing and shoved the shaft forward. I'm only going to move it about that far until I unloose the transmission and pull it backwards. I want to pause right here for just a second and save you guys some time. The easiest way to do this is just to go up and pull. I think there's 2 or 4. There might be. I actually think there's 4 bolts off of the front differential. Pull those bolts out and slide the whole shaft forward. It took me a lot of time and prying and twisting to pull this transmission back enough to slide it off of this shaft. The easiest thing to do is just to pull the bolts out of the front differential as well as the carrier bolts off that carrier bearing in the middle of the machine. That's the easiest way to get this done. Okay guys, that's probably good on this video, at least part 1 of this video. We'll get back together and start tearing this out, getting it out to where we can work on it. It may take 1 or 2 more videos to get this project wrapped up, but for now we'll leave it here and come back with a part 2.